What has Giratina-Ex done for you lately? Hello everyone, welcome to Pokédex, a channel where I build decks for the Pokemon trading card game, and today I'm going to try to convince you to play Darkrai X without Giratina-Ex. So a lot of people ask me, what's my current favorite standard deck? And I say it's Darkrai X without Giratina-Ex. Although Giratina-Ex seems like a very nice fit for this deck, I mean, it's a basic Pokemon, it is protected by its ability from Mega Pokemon, and a single attachment of a Double Dragon Energy increases Dark Pulse, the attack on Darkrai X, in 40 damage, which is quite nice actually. But what's the rush? I mean, Darkrai X is the perfect 2-hit knockout Pokemon. It's a basic, but if you attach a Fighting Fury Belt, you're getting your HP up to 220. That's right up with a Megas. So it's like it has the same HP as a Mega. Is the attack comparable to a Mega Pokemon? I think it is. I mean, for 2 energy, if you were only playing Darkness Energy, those 2 energy will increase the damage in 40 damage, so that's already 60 damage. If you have 2 other Darkness Energy on our Pokemon on the bench, that's 100 damage, which means that's a 2-hit knockout on any Pokemon. If we have a Fighting Fury Belt, we don't even need to attach anymore because that's already 110, plus the next turn we deal the other 110, and that's already 220. But if we need to attach a second energy the following turn, no one is going to fault us for that, and it works out really nicely that way. So Darkrai X, very good to hit knockout Pokemon. The best thing about it though is that we commit so little. I mean, it's a basic Pokemon. We don't need to evolve, you don't need to spend a Spirit Link, you don't need to drop 3 energy on this guy, just 2 energy. The other energies are spread across your bench, on your other Pokemon, your other attack is ready to go, so you don't really need like a big Pokemon like Giratina to fix anything for you. Giratina does have other stuff going for it. I mean, it prevents your opponents from playing special energies, and it prevents your opponents from playing tools. But I'm arguing neither of those things is that game breaking, and I think your deck gets a lot better by not playing Giratinas. What can we get into the deck to try to help us instead of Giratina? Well, for one, our Pokemon line is way more streamlined. We don't get that huge Pokemon with 3 retreat costs that we can't really get out of. And we can afford to play Crushing Hammers in this deck, which I think is a huge plus. I think Crushing Hammer is a super high impact card. It does fail half of the time, but honestly, in a lot of games, if we hit 1 or 2 hammers in the right spot, it's going to be backbreaking to our opponent, because I think the format is in a place where some decks, not all of the decks, some decks just really don't care about Crushing Hammers, whatever, we're not talking about those decks. But some other decks, like Darkrai Giratinas, for example, are really affected by this card. Other decks that play special energies are too, so we can hit them off. But it just makes it so that this is the best deck playing a tempo game. We can throw Yveltal EX into the active position without really thinking too much about it, because it's a non-EX Pokemon. Oblivion Wing is super nice, powering up our bench Pokemon. And a lot of decks have a lot of trouble dealing 130 damage in a single hit without spending a lot of resources. Even Volcanion decks have to spend some amount of resources to do that with their baby Volcanions, which might mean they might just promote the Volcanion EX itself, which just makes it really nice for us because we can immediately start attacking with our Darkrai EX and start trading favorably, which is the goal with this deck. We are playing a lot of very disruptive cards like the Parallel Cities. The thing about Parallel City is if your opponent drops it first, you cannot play yours, but this deck doesn't really care too much. We don't care about having a very low bench size, because with only 3 Pokemon, we can have like 2 attackers and a Shaman, something like that, which works out really nicely for us. Another good thing with this deck is we can play just basic energy, so I'm playing 12 Darkness Energy. That makes our max elixirs hit most of the time. It's very rare that we miss an elixir. I have actually tried this deck with 13, and it's really nice, but I needed the slot, and I think 12 is a very high number still for the max elixirs. At first, I started this deck with 3 Fighting Fury Belt. Once again, Fighting Fury Belt makes a basic Pokemon a basic EX Pokemon like Darkrai, already at 180, go up to 220, which is the same amount of HP that there's on a Mega Pokemon. So it's comparable to that. But what I found out is that Floatstone is way more important for this deck. Usually what happens is we keep the Floatstones and we keep our items as close to our chest as possible, and we only play them when we really need to, like when we play a Sycamore or when we actually want to make use of them. So usually the first Darkrai and the second Darkrai will be using Floatstones. So we attack with this guy, we stick a Floatstone, we retreat, and we attack with another Darkrai that we powered up with Max Elixirs. And then that second Darkrai, we might either play a second Floatstone and retreat again, conserving our energy on the board, or we might just play a Fighting Fury Belt so that we protect it further from a knockout, and we keep more energy on the board that way. So it works really nicely that way, so the tools work really well with our Pokemon. I'm not playing Darkrai only, I'm playing Yveltal-EX. This is a guy where we don't really care about sticking extra energy, so it's good that way. Darkrai, we kind of feel bad by attaching the third energy there, mostly because we rarely use the second attack, if ever, and we're just attaching more energy that the opponent could Lysander out and just get rid of. So we don't really feel that bad about attaching them to Yveltal-EX, because this guy really makes a lot of use out of a huge evil ball. There's been a lot of games actually where I just built an Yveltal-EX with 5 or 6 energy even, and ended up getting to 1-hit KO in the later stages of the game. And that's another thing with this deck. It's very likely that you'll get to a position where you're hitting 2-hit KOs most of the game, and then you close out the game really quickly at the end because you got to a point where you haven't really lost a lot of energy. There's still a lot of energy in the board attached to your Pokemon, and you're able to just Lysander out and kill some Pokemon that your opponent is keeping on the bench. So this is my favorite standard deck. There's really not much to be said about it. It's a really straightforward deck. I can say that I was playing just a single X Maniac in this deck, but I figured that I had an extra space and extra slot, so I decided to go with the Garbodor line for now at least and try it out. It works decently, but if you guys need an extra slot, I think I would start by cutting this too and just add an X Maniac and the slot that you guys need. So that's the deck. That's the deck that my favorite standard deck right now. If I was playing competitively, I think this would be the deck that I would be playing. It's the deck that I've had the most success lately with, and I think it's definitely solid, definitely up there. And it takes a little bit to get used to the gameplay because it's really about conserving cards, conserving energy in play, trying to squeeze the most out of every single card in your hand and in your field. And it does punish you for misplays, but it also, when you're playing this deck well, it's really, really awesome because you can basically defeat any other deck in the format. You have game against everything. There's no auto losses for this deck, and that's something that I think just makes you feel like you're a good player when you win with this deck, and I love that in a deck. So yeah, that's another deck for you guys. That's another thing for you guys to consider. So the next time you're playing Darkrai with Giratina, maybe try this deck for a couple of games. Try cutting off the Giratinas, see what you guys think about that. Tell me if you agree or not in the comments below, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye!